today's video, we will be going over the full story of everyone's favorite little shit in Resident Evil 4, Ramon Salazar. A lot of people seem to have not liked this villain, but personally, I thought he added to the cheese element to the game in a very big way. I'm excited to see how he is in the remake though, but with everything out of the way, let's get right into the video. Little is known of Salazar's early life. If his claimed age is accurate, he inherited the castle at a young age and had no other family, though his ancestor, the first Castellan, was the topic of much-loved folklore in the region. Salazar himself was unpopular among the villagers. Taking advantage of the Castellan's young and isolated state, Osmond Sadler approached Salazar and provided him with insight into Los Iluminados, a modern cult revolving around Plaga worship that was once stamped out by the first Castellan. Salazar fully accepted Sadler's claim to being a prophet, which does show how good of a manipulator Sadler was, because Salazar resurrected the Plaga to atone for the sin of his first ancestor, which he sealed away and turned into fossil. The Plaga parasites were expected to be dead, but years later they fully regenerated into fully formed Plagas. Then after this, Sadler's research team did full researches on these Plagas, as they were able to produce eggs to spread out to the entire region of the village, and once all the steps were complete, they were eventually trying to take over the world. From this research, Salazar was granted one of several genetically modified dominant species Plagas, which would grant him full control over his body as well as the ability to control rank and file hosts. Salazar formed a large armed force of cultists, and used 2 Verdugo bioweapons as his personal bodyguards. It became Salazar's duty to protect the Queen Plaga, a large creature which asexually reproduced new Plagas constantly. They ended up plotting to kidnap Ashley Graham, the president's daughter, which they assigned that mission to Jack Krauser, or Jack just did it in order to gain Sadler's trust, but it could go both ways. And after they succeeded, they injected her with a Plaga as well, so it was only a matter of time for her to become one of them and their world takeover. Leon Kennedy was then dispatched to rescue her. After escaping the village and killing Chief Mendez, they go into Salazar's castle, where we get our first official introduction of him. Before we get into more, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more content like this in the near future, and to help us reach 5,000 subscribers. We go through many obstacles through this castle, like a chaotic water room, the sewers full of novistadors, a maze full of infected wolves, Garradors, and even one of his personal bodyguards, a Verdugo. All of this was to slow Leon down, so they could prepare for a ritual on Ashley with the Queen Plaga in their presence before sending Ashley off to the military island. After they succeeded doing so, Salazar and the remaining Verdugo assimilate into the Queen Plaga to make it a one last stand type of showdown against Leon Kennedy. And as soon as Leon said this,
"Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about,"
you knew he was winning. Those 3 enemies would be killed by Leon in order to stop him from saving Ashley. Salazar is an interesting character that we just didn't know much about, but in some game files we kind of know what happened with him and his descent to evil with the Butler's Memo as you play as Ashley. Knowing that Senor Ramon Salazar has no family, Lord Sadler must have used his strong faith in Los Iluminados to his advantage to talk Senor Salazar into the undoing seal of the Lost Plagas once done by his ancestor. Senor Salazar would never do such a thing unless he was in some way being used unknowingly. I should have sensed the Lord's dirty scheme sooner. I feel I am partly responsible for all of this. I have no idea as to what the Lord is planning, but Senor Salazar was just being used. It is too late now, however. Senor Salazar has already taken the Plaga into his body. There is no turning back once the Plaga has turned into an adult in the body. The Plaga parasite will not die unless the host dies. There's no cure. Perhaps Senor Salazar may have been vaguely aware of the Lord's plan all along, but it's so hard to tell. Nevertheless, there's nothing I can do about it now. I have served the Salazar family for generations. I am prepared to continue my services until the very end, which this shows that the butler really cared for him, and I do believe he was manipulated by Sadler into unleashing this Plaga. The village people were completely fine, and when Sadler used those Plagas to infect them, it was over from there. So let's go into another file known as the Castellan Memo. For many years the Salazar family has served as the Castellans of this castle. However, not everything is bright, for my ancestry has a dark past. Long ago, there was once a religious group that had deep roots in this region called the Los Iluminados. Unjustly, however, the first Castellan of the castle took away their rights and powers. As a follower of this religion and as the 8th Castellan, I felt that it was my duty as well as my responsibility to atone for that sin. I knew the best way to atone for that sin was to give power back to those who we once took it away from, the Los Iluminados. As expected, it took a little time, but we were able to rejuvenate the once sealed Lost Plagas. With the success, I was one step closer to the revival of the Los Iluminados. The reason why I released the Lost Plagas from deep under the castle and gave them to Lord Sadler was not only to repay for the sins of my ancestors, but I felt certain that the Lord would make better use of this power to help save the world. To save those that have sinned with the power of the lost plagas and to cleanse their souls, creating a world without sinners. The way it was meant to be. Once cleansed, they would become one of many ganados where they will find their reason to live. And after the Lord has succeeded in creating the world in which he has envisioned, then the sins of my Salazar family will be atoned for. I don't know if Salazar will be the same or completely different in the remake. His hair is shown and we don't see his cool hat at all. His voice, however, is a lot deeper, so we could be seeing a more serious Salazar if possible, but at the same time I want his section to be cheesy just like the original game. But what do you guys think? Do you still want to see that little shit play mind games with you, or do you want something different? I would love to hear your thoughts, but more importantly, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be very appreciated while also hitting the subscribe button as well. Thank you everyone for watching, peace out, and much love.